right, so we're just going to record to the cloud, and I'll pull that down. We do have some people joining us on Zoom. That's a marvelous thing. We have people here in person. I'm sharing my screen so the people at home will see my desktop, but our camera's also here so they can see you interact as well with your own version. So hopefully that's better. Last time I had the camera down here, Linda said she got tired of looking at my butt. I said, why are you looking? So I figured this time I put the camera a little bit higher so that everyone isn't standing in my rear while I walk around.
So don't have to look at my red.
And you said, why are you
looking? Why are you looking?
Linda.
That's good.
So
that's why he's
Such a
teacher.
good story.
might be a little bit over the timeline, but we'll
Andrew will show you how to take out the old ones.
Yeah, we'll look at that.
Clean them all up.
So I'm just on Writer.edu. I'm just going to click on Canvas up at the top. I just want to quickly kind of glaze over some of the stuff we looked at the first time for a quick refresher, and then we'll dive into new stuff today. Know that our conversation today is focused more on the classroom environment and setting up a specific course rather than like, hey, here's Canvas, here's the that are in Canvas. We're actually going to be in the class. So how do we put content in there? How do we set up the home page? How do we link some of these other tools that we use like Zoom and Office 365 and stuff, all that stuff can talk to each other. So we'll look at some of that today. We reviewed last time how to make your profile, and hopefully you have your picture up top here. Again, I encourage you, if that's not the case, to get your picture up top. And there's some places where you can put some information in there. Great place for office hours or your email address or things like that, pertinent information that you tend to have to give students all the time. This is another place where they can find it because, of course, as they click on you as the instructor in the course, they will get that information. So that's a great place to put some of that stuff. I do want to touch on all of your courses here. If you click on the book on the left-hand side, you get your courses in a scroll menu, which obviously for our course coordinators and people who have an astronomical amount of coursework, this menu is too long. There is no way to control the menu. The only thing we can control are the classes here that display on the dashboard, which is probably the more important factor anyway, right? The ones you're going to all the time are the ones you want in front of you. So to do that, click on your courses here to get this menu, scroll down to the bottom and choose all courses. And you'll get all these courses here that have the star next to them. When you hit the star, that puts it on your dashboard. Right now, none of my items are starred, so by default, everything shows up on the dashboard. But if you only have 4 classes and you have 20 clinical sections, you might only want those 4 classes in front of you all the time. Just star those 4. The other 20 sections are still there. They're just not right in front of you on the dashboard.
So you have to unstar. No, that you have to unstar all the clinical ones.
Yeah,
better
clinical.
unstart.
Yeah, it's a weird. Sometimes it's a weird click. It's not as easy as some of the sliding buttons are. You literally have to be right in the middle of it for it to turn on and off.
No, I mean, I'm probably going to say this 18 times. In Campus Cruiser, you can adjust the courses you see based on semester. Will that be something? I mean, I know we're just starting, but will that be something that we'll be able to?
Yeah, when you, not in this exact place, but if you go up here to browse more,
okay,
you can search more by term, by number.
Okay.
So in that case, if we're looking for something from 850 from multiple semesters, I can literally just type 850 and it'll give me the whole course. Or if I'm looking for everything I might be involved in education, I can just type ED and everything ED that's registered my name will come up.
Okay.
So it's more like an advanced search in email, right? You got everything in front of you and then you can go one step further and add more parameters so that it kind of narrows it down a little bit more for you. Any questions on that? That was kind of covered in the first one. I just wanted to brush up on that because I feel like that's probably one of the main things that can help alleviate some stress here. It's very stressful to log in and see 35 courses in front of you.
Yeah.
So if we can manage that a little bit, that's one of the places where we can manage it. Take some of that stuff off the front on display for yourself. All right, we good there? All right, marvelous. I'm just going to click back on my dashboard, which in this case is kind of like our speedometer. Kind of makes sense, right? You have a dashboard on your car. Your dashboard has a speedometer. So I guess that symbol makes sense there. I don't know if I would use that, but that's the conclusion I guess they draw there. So here you have, like I said, everything you're in. I would encourage you, for our case right now, pick either a fall course that was run last fall that's going to be run again this fall, or pick a spring course that's running right now that you know is probably going to run in spring.
So how do we do that?
I don't think our fall courses are on our dashboard.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
That way, you're not wasting your time today as we go through the courses, and what we're contributing to that environment today can be used in the future. If you don't have a course you're looking for, it's because that course didn't exist in fall 17. Your fall, it had to be in Cruiser and in Colleague in order for it to show up here for fall 17. So if it didn't run last year and it's running this fall, it's not going to be there until the fall stuff's put in. And if it didn't run this spring, but it's running next spring, it's not going to be in there until next spring's put in. Summer will be in there once they put this fall in. So soon, because registration for individuals opens at the beginning of next month. I would think those courses should be in soon, because the courses have to be in order to register for them. So I would think that would be fed soon. If for some reason you don't have something here that you can use, you can always come up, and I have to move my window to the bottom here. You can always come to your courses tab. And when you do all courses, at the top, there's the plus course. And you can always add a fake class. So if your class didn't run in fall and you want to start working on your fall class right now, you can make a fake one. If your class didn't run in spring and you want to make a fake one right now, you can do that. I would encourage you the same way that we talked about in Cruiser for naming sake. Don't name it exactly the way it looks in the system. That's not only going to screw you up, but it's going to screw Colleague up too. So name it copy of something, or put your last name first. We know that never happens when our classes get put over. But in this case, I would encourage you to use an environment that's already created. So either a fall or a spring course.
Andrew?
Yes.
If I have a fall course, can I move it to like my dashboard now? So
Yes.
that I could, because when I go to past enrollment, so like if I click on 432, I can click on the link, but I can't start.
Oh, it doesn't let you bring that one forward. So I think in that case, you're just going to have to get to that class by clicking on that link. It doesn't let you put that one on the dashboard. And I believe that's correct because of it being past enrollment. It only lets that current stuff come to the front.
Okay.
Yeah. So does everyone have a class that they can be in?
Can I, Andrew,
Yeah.
I have to start a new class, but when it says content license private, do I want private? This is for a brand new one.
Right, so you would want private. Private meaning you and like people at the university. If you do public, people can come down here to Commons and search for your course.
Okay.
Which is fine if you're looking for other content, but for a lot of us, that's our own particular stuff. So you don't necessarily want someone from California looking at your content. They're not enrolled in your course.
This raises an interesting intellectual property issue there, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And on the flip side, it raises interesting questions about how consistent we are across courses. So is there a sort of rule of thumb about sharing or how this goes, or?
I honestly think, well, personally, it's at your discretion, but it's also at the university's discretion as to how much your content can be shared for other educational purposes. So when you create this, I don't know Widener's rule to that. Does it belong to Widener because your research is done at Widener? And that's the way most academic institutions are.
Yeah.
So the majority of classes you're gonna find in that Commons section are free, open source material. So very basic stuff like chemistry basics, astronomy basics, psychology basics. So that stuff is there, but you're not like, oh, I want to enroll in psychology 101. You know, it's not running out of Berkeley on Canvas at the moment. You know, so it's not like that. It's more of just if you've ever used open source commons online for images and stuff, it's like that. It's free, uncopyrighted material that you can use at your discretion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm looking for Patho from the fall, nursing 405.
So I would go to your courses here, your book, and go down your menu, all courses, and at the bottom there's a past enrollment area, and that fall course might be in there.
Past enrollment?
Past
Oh, there you go.
enrollment.
I don't
405.
see that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so once that semester's gone, the data's not gone, they just kind of put it in a different place.
It'll come up to your dashboard.
So if I click on
Do I click it or star it?
17.
Jeffers had a hard time starring her past enrollment.
Yeah.
She said she wasn't able to start.
Okay.
So you
click
just
it.
have to click in order to get into
All
that
right,
class.
thank
And you know to work in that environment, you just have to go to that section to get to that class.
you. Okay.
Okay? So here, we all see the same thing,
Yeah.
right? The only thing you probably see different is that you're in a different course. I'm just in my freshman seminar course. You're in whatever course you chose, but all of us have this same Widener template here. Okay, we have this same landing page. Now, if you started a brand new course,
Got nothing.
you're blank.
I am.
And in that case, I would encourage you to take a course that existed at some other time and just copy it into your new course so that you get this front page template. But don't do that right now. Rose, that's way too much. That's for down the road. We haven't even looked at how to copy courses.
Yeah.
So for this case, let's just look at what this is. What do we have up here? Say it.
Dr. Brown, I'm sorry, I'm telling her to pay attention. She said, why is mine not moving? I said, because he hasn't gotten there yet.
I sat next to her because I knew she would be in control.
I'm trying.
Clearly already needs something.
Look what you have here. Biggest piece of information I want to bring to your attention, or I should say two biggest pieces of information. First of all, welcome to name of class. This is a simple edit button. You hit edit, you write in the name of class.
That's nice.
Okay, that's not, it's literally there for you to build on top of. If you don't want it to say welcome to, take out welcome to. If you wanted to say it's a great day in Nursing 365, then say it. It's a great day in Nursing 365. It's whatever you want. It's a blank HTML box. So you can type, you can change typeface, you can change color, you can put symbols, anything you want to put in there. We just tried to give you a head start there by putting that kind of welcome message. Another piece of information you have there is the term, the time, and the credits. Now, this is one place in Cruiser where we were spoiled because this information slept on the public welcome page of all of our classes. And when the students needed a reminder as to where they went at what time, they were able to click on the public welcome page and find that information. There is no public welcome page inside of Canvas, and there is no way to feed this information into Canvas. So that's why this says, see Web Advisor, my class schedule for location info. We put this here in an effort to have the professors fill in this information at the beginning of the semester. So that for fall, you say fall 18, 12 o'clock, Wednesdays, 3 credits. We wish that talked to colleague and that was able to put in, but through student conversations in ITS, that was one thing that they went to a lot when they needed that, oh, where am I supposed to be? What time am I supposed to be there? Just like us, they got a lot on their plate. Sometimes they need that reminder, so that's a great place to put that. Obviously, look on your syllabus. Yes, we want to look on the syllabus. We know it's their responsibility, but let's help them out a little bit and put it one other place right in the front of class. So I think that's a great piece of information. And then, of course, I'm just hitting edit here. This is all editable content. Obviously, I wouldn't encourage you to keep this paragraph that says click the edit button at the top of the page to customize this homepage. This is a tutorial of how to customize the homepage.
The subtext.
If you want to put in a brief course description, that's a great place for a course description. If you want to put in the 5 objectives that you're going to meet during the semester, that's a great place to put your 5 objectives. That way, all those things are right there in front of them. The things that you refer to all the time. Are you able to meet these 5 things by the end of the semester? They're literally right in front of you every time you log into the class. So that's a great place to put something like that.
So if I have my flash drive in, I can just cut and paste?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, this is cut and paste. And thankfully, not as temperamental on formatting as Cruiser was. Okay. So it's not like all of a sudden there's a space where you didn't want a space, or it made it 1.5 spaces in between instead of the 2 spaces that you copied and pasted. Everything that I've copied and pasted has showed up the exact same way I've copied and pasted. If it's bold, it shows up bold. Okay. If it's italics, it shows up italics, and if it's blue, it shows up blue. So all that formatting carries over, which is a big plus, especially for our copy and paste. Absolutely.
And then if you want to fix it, you can just highlight it and fix it like you would in Word.
Absolutely. Yep, just like that. So know that you do have a bunch of other options. This is, if you remember, in Cruiser, this is our same HTML top window here, but look at all your options you have up here. Now, I'm not just bringing this to your attention for right now. I'm bringing this to your attention that for any time you use this kind of box in Cruiser, you get all these tools that accompany this box up here, right? So you have your normal italic, underline, strike through things. You have your normal center, bold, left, right types of things. For our math people, you have subscript and superscript. You also have a insert math equation function on here. So we know that math equations are very hard to make on Word because of formatting. Much easier inside of this box. You have your regular links and media. You have an automatic YouTube insert, so we're not necessarily putting the link. We put in the address for the YouTube video, and that YouTube video shows up right here on the page. So it's not, let's click the link and go to YouTube. It's let me just hit the play button that's right in front of me. So we're no longer sending them to all of these external sources. We're making it more of a one-stop shop right in front of them. So that's a great thing. I'll get on this a little bit more once we get into assignments, but you also have your OneDrive here. This is going to be extremely helpful for those of you. I mentioned in the faculty meeting, if you have a ridiculous amount of shared files and you can't fit them in your normal files section here, you're able to link right to your OneDrive.
Is it the thing right next to the YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little orange square.
Okay, I just couldn't see it.
So what it does there is it gives you the same thing that shared files gave you. When you click on that, it opens your OneDrive, and it says, here are all the things in your OneDrive. What do you want to select? You select your document, and it drops it in this window. So it doesn't necessarily drop the document. It drops the link for the document. So then when I click on the link, it takes me there. But as opposed to saying, oh, go into OneDrive, go to Shared with Me, find the folder, find week 6, find article number 4, and I want you to respond on the message board with that. So all those steps is way too many. First of all, way too many for you to explain and way too many for the student to mess up. And then you get 3 emails because they couldn't find the article. Here, we're literally dropping the article right on the page in front of them. There is no searching and hunting and pecking to find it. So not only can you do that with your OneDrive, but that's the same thing over here with your files. So again, I'm not saying go to shared files and find this. If I want to have them click on, in this case, I just put an image. I want them to have this image. I just said files, clicked on the image, and it dropped it right there. So now they have access to that content that I wanted them to have access right in that spot, rather than going to a whole nother place. Does that make sense? I know that's a whole lot of information. And I know that there's a ridiculous amount here. And I could probably spend days loading your mind with Canvas stuff. I encourage you to build very basic, and same thing with Cruiser, and same thing that happened with Zoom and Office 365, everything else on this campus. As you get more comfortable, we will find more and more ways for this tool to be useful. But if you try to jump into the deep end and use everything at once, you're going to overwhelm yourself and you're going to overwhelm the students. And neither one of those is a good thing. So start very basic, right? Find these couple things that, ooh, that's going to work really good. Man, I'm really going to be able to use that in my class. And let's run with that. Like, let's not try to catch all the bees in one nest. All right? Questions on that?
Just, Andrew,
Yeah.
in OneDrive, so when we're putting that in there, we're putting it in a specific file. Like, students can't get into our OneDrive.
Correct. You're just creating a link.
Okay.
So the same way that you were, if you were to go into your OneDrive and click on the 3 dots and click share, and it gives you a link to go to that document, that's what it's doing here. But instead of putting up the link, it's putting up the name of the file.
Got it.
So this link, the link sleeps behind that.
Okay.
So when I click on it, I can see up here, I have my little caret underneath my link. It's telling me that that is taking me somewhere else. So instead of that long https woomail/rschwartz/45695 and all this crap that comes along with sharing a document, it just puts the name, and all that stuff is just sleeping behind it.
Would you recommend, like, now maybe taking like the syllabi and PowerPoints, if you have, and putting them in OneDrive now? You know what I mean? So, like, for instance, if I'm sitting here and I'm in 485A17 fall, right? Because I want to move that information over.
Yeah.
And these are syllabi and that kind of thing. Would you suggest that I put it in OneDrive, so then when I move it over to 18, you know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I would suggest that you put it in your regular files here.
Okay.
I'm sending everyone towards files.
Okay.
Dr. Gray is the only one that I found that filled up her OneDrive, or that filled up her file section on Canvas.
Did she get a prize?
No, but she blew my mind.
And why did she?
So that's why we had to find that back door for the OneDrive. I honestly think that 95% of us are going to be perfectly fine keeping everything right here in files.
So show me, all right, so I'm in 485A fall. I went backwards.
Okay.
If I go into files, will it show me my files from 2017? Or should I move it over to click on 18?
No, there's
No,
Nothing
because
in
there's
there.
nothing in there from 2017.
Okay.
Right now, your files from 2017 are sleeping in Cruiser,
Okay.
right? So we would have to take those files out of Cruiser shared files and move them here to this files,
All right.
which I can show you how to do
Okay.
in one foul swoop.
Okay.
But not right now.
18, not for 17.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So basically 17 is just saying going forward, like in fall of 19, I can go back to 18 and then I can.
Correct.
Okay.
And at that point, once they're in
Canvas.
Canvas,
They're in.
we can just copy the class.
Okay.
But for this original start,
Okay.
we have to take everything that's in Cruiser and bring it over to Canvas.
Okay.
Okay? Another tool I wanted to show you here real quick before I move to my next thing is this little guy here in the right-hand corner. This is your accessibility checker.
Yes, yes.
So everyone on this on the campus is yelling accessibility, accessibility, accessibility. You have accessibility checker in Word. You have accessibility checker in PowerPoint. Here's your accessibility checker in Canvas. And you're literally just clicking on that guy and your accessibility checker pops up. You see I have 6 issues here on my page. Now, obviously, some of those issues are a little bit more prominent than others, right? Some of them need a little bit more attention. So let's see. Image file name should be not used as the alternate attribute describing the image content. So here, what's this saying is that if a student hovers over that image, this is what it reads.
Yeah, which is not helpful.
And the student doesn't know what that is. So instead of that reading this, I'll just say a picture of Old Main.
And does it talk to you when you do that?
Yes.
Good.
If you have your verbal text turned on your computer. But that's another reason that people who are using that accessibility feature to have their computer speak to them, if they took their mouse over this, it would say Z_05946.jpg. They have no idea what that means. But now if I put my mouse over this and I do this, my reader is going to say a picture of Old Main. That makes a little bit more sense. So obviously here has nothing to do with the context of class, but that's something to certainly consider in your course, right? For those PowerPoints and things like that, that's a lot of places where we have our accessibility issues is with images. What is the alternate text for those images is one of the big things.
So how do you have your pictures okay? Because mine didn't come up in the.
When you did the accessibility checker?
Mine did. Now it's saying something else. Screen readers.
It's saying this whole thing on header, on tables, and I don't have a table in here, so I don't know what it's talking about.
Let's see. I haven't used that accessibility checker a whole lot.
It's saying that this is a table.
Here, this is a table. So they're saying that this table should include at least one header because, right, if we're looking at a table of students and test scores, I want to know what's in the columns. So it's thinking that this is a row of information, and it's not.
Right.
We just used a table to insert a paragraph.
So
this, I think you can ignore.
Okay.
Right? You don't need a header on instructions, but if it was a table of data, you would need a header on that column to know what that column is reading.
Okay.
So that's what it's seeing. It's seeing a table and it's saying there's no header on that table. We need something, but there I think we're okay.
So I guess the rest.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. I know we're sitting here on campus at the moment. I intend on having a short session on accessibility because I want to be able to show you the accessibility tools in Word and PowerPoint. I just don't know when that's going to be. I'm trying to find time to get all of this in at the end of the year on top of not overlapping everything else that's going on in the building at the same time. So I intend on trying to do that so that when you are working in here, we're not working twice as hard because now all of a sudden you have to check everything. Let's try and do some of that stuff on the front end. So that would be my goal for sure.
And of course, this is a huge federal concern. In fact, a story I probably won't relate fully. I think it was the University of Maryland in their sports facility did not have an accessible scoreboard, and they were fined millions of dollars because the sports, the thing, scroll.
And I feel like it's a box of worms.
It is.
Like it'll take one person on campus to bring up an issue of accessibility of content, and all of a sudden the fire is lit.
Yep.
And everyone's stuff is looking at, and all these places need to be addressed.
Yep.
And that's what the CIO is trying to avoid. We're not in that boat yet. It's okay, let's look at this, let's get this stuff together. There isn't a lawsuit in front of us. But if that does happen for some kind of accessibility issue, they're gonna go through everything with a comb. And you think that we're saying now, let's look at it and make sure, with a comb. Now, believe me, this has been addressed, and I have talked to other people in the university. I know, for example, Fox School of Business had a very big push on accessibility, and they went over to Canvas. So they have a lot of people in the background, student workers, different admins, looking at some of the accessibility content for professors. Because we realize that not only are we asking you to move all this content over, now we're also asking you to go through all of the content to make sure that it's accessible. So know that there is talk on campus of how there can be more resources provided for these accessibility checks to be more of a not daunting task for everyone. So know that that is a conversation. We're not just kind of leaving you out there. Hey, go check all this stuff. People are trying to find a way to make that easier.
And for what's worse, it has to involve faculty, it has to involve administration, procurement, purchasing,
Yeah.
IT, blah, blah. So it's a huge.
It's everybody.
It's
Yeah,
huge
it's
and
everybody.
it really is very important.
All right. Questions on the front page. We went through a lot there. Okay, we're literally just editing this front information. Now, I'm going to jump into this because if you notice on your left-hand side, when you are on the front page, you're not on home. Home is syllabus. Okay, look what's happening there. When I click on home up at the top, it's taking me to syllabus. Okay, the reason for that is syllabus was the only place where we could put this information for the template. Okay, I know that's going to be confusing as heck for the students. That's why syllabus is down here in gray. They don't see the word syllabus. They click on home and it takes them to the syllabus page. They don't know that this label even exists because that is confusing as all geez. Believe me, I was totally against that. Obviously, I don't carry enough weight in that situation. But it's odd. But again, you click on home. The only thing the students see here are these blue words. So from home to Zoom, they see. If you are someone that wants them to see discussions, assignments, quizzes, conferences, and anything else that's here, we just need to adjust the display settings for that course. That's where we're going next, okay? Because I know that some of us use message boards like crazy, and that's a marvelous thing. It's a great place for collaboration. They'll still be able to get into the message board and discussion place without seeing this button here. But if you wanted to put that in front of them so they could just go there without going through another door, we can put that discussion button right there for them.
Why did they limit it? There was too many words, or?
And that's what we thought. The menu was too long.
Okay.
So what we're kind of thinking of is our goal is that we live in a module format, right? So as a student, I click on modules and I see what I need to do in the module. Now within that module, I might have to read an article, answer a discussion, and take a quiz. I can click and participate in this discussion within the module without actually clicking on discussions. So that was the idea. Everyone goes to module for everything. You want to answer your discussion, you go to module. You want to take your quiz, you go to module. You want to complete your assignment, you go to module. Some people don't like that. That's perfectly fine. So if you want them to answer discussion and go to discussion, put discussion in the menu. If you want them to be able to go to the assignments without actually going inside of the module, put assignments in the menu. Okay? We didn't want to drown them with content. Essentially, module is, if you think about it as a house, your module is the front door. You can go into any of the other rooms by entering the front door, right? But also, we can take those rooms and have outside entrance to them. So I can build another door to my bedroom. I don't need to go into the front door to get to my bedroom. I can click right on that. Does that make sense? It's weird as hell for the layout. I didn't agree with it, but again, obviously my opinion didn't count much there. So everyone said, we're going modules, we're going modules. Modules are great, really great for online, but we have so many people that are still face-to-face, and they might only do 1 or 2 discussions throughout the semester, and they don't want to build out module 1 through 12. They just want these 3 discussions, these 3 assignments, and these 2 quizzes. That's the way some of us want to work, and that's perfectly fine. But if that's the case, then you're going to want to take your discussions, your assignments, and your quizzes and move them up to the menu so that your students can see them. All right, so let's look at how to do that. Very easy. I'm just clicking on settings down here at the bottom. You have a settings inside of every single course. So just because I'm adjusting what my students see for my freshman seminar course doesn't mean that's what they're going to see for my 301 course. I'm adjusting the settings for just this course. Does that make sense? All right. So here, all I'm doing is your first tab is your course details. Here you can edit some of the basic information. You want to choose a different image. We talked about that the first class, changing what that front image is on the dashboard. You can choose that there as well.
You mean the Widener, our picture of our school?
No, that's the image that's right on the main landing page. This would be the image that displays on the dashboard where you have the different color codes. So not only is it a purple class, but it's my nutrition class. So underneath my purple, I have the nutrition pyramid. Or it's my med-surg class, so underneath it I have a picture of a hospital and it's blue. So it's just another way of kind of coding what the students are seeing. You want to put an image? Great. You don't? That's fine too. Personal preference. So obviously choose image, yada, yada, yada. Your start and end dates are put in by colleague. You don't need to worry about that. The only thing I would adjust there is if you wanted to have your students have access to the course maybe before, like our 301 I run during the fall, I open that up in the beginning of August. So if students want to start working on it, they can work on it. Here, colleague is going to read for this to open on the start of school. So if you wanted to open up earlier, you would have to open it up earlier. Or same thing, if you want students to have access to it because they're going to use some of the stuff from Med-Surg 1 and Med-Surg 2, and you want them to have access to that class, just open it up so that it stays on that front board and they're able to go into it. Okay, they can still go to it by getting into that past enrollment section that we saw, but they got to hunt and peck then. If you change that date, it will stay right in front of them if you want them to have that content. I think for some of our spiraled curriculum classes, that might be pretty helpful. They can go back to what they did prior rather than trying to start anew each time. Of course, language, copyrights, yada, yada, yada. Not much that I think you would change in there. Yeah, we'll just move on from there. I don't see anything else that we would necessarily need to change on an individual basis. Here you have sections. This would be for those of us where we merge sections. We might merge the Harrisburg and the Chester campus for some of our master courses. That's where we would see this in here. And we're able to see what those different sections are. And you'll see that it gives you how many users are in each section. So that's just another piece of information that's there. 90% of us, you're only going to see the section that you're in right now. But for those couple classes that we merged together, that's a place where you can see that merged data right on top of each other. Here's what we came in for. This is your navigation. This is your left-hand side menu. You'll see we have home, attendance, grades, announcement, modules, files, people, collaborations, chat, Office 365, Zoom. This is what they see now. Okay, when the students go in, this is what they see. You can always move this around. I think files is really important. I'm going to put files up towards the top. You know what? We use collaborations, but it's really not that important. I'm going to put it down here below Zoom because when I'm using Zoom, I'm collaborating. So I think those two things should be next to each other. Personal preference.
How did you move that?
I'm just holding and dragging.
Oh, okay.
You can also hover over and there's a move up and down button, but Canvas is pretty good about drag and drop. So when you want to move something up and down, you should just be able to hold that left-hand mouse button and drag it, same way you would moving a file to a folder on your desktop. Okay, and if you scroll down, here are some other things that can be added, right? We talked about that I want my discussions to be in the menu that the students see. You literally just take that and drag it up here. And now my discussions appear in that menu. This semester, I'm not doing discussions so much. I'm going to move it back down. I don't need it in my menu.
When it says people, what does that mean?
People are the people in class.
Okay, so other.
Yeah, it's the same way your member manager would be inside of Campus Cruiser. It's the admin side, gives you first name, last name, email, student ID, photo. Yeah. So it's basically the people who are in that section. Okay, you also get information here based on roles within your course. You'll see that obviously because this was run in fall, I don't have any students here, but you can get a quick number of students. I think this would be great for some of our, we're talking about course coordinators and things that need to be in some of the actual classes to be able to see some of the content, but we don't want them to have to take the evals at the end. You have a role here of observers. So you could put them in as observers, then that way they're just kind of there. They can't look at grades, they can't go in and look at student information, but they can see what's going on in content. Now, obviously, if you want that to be different and you want the observer to be able to see maybe some of those grades or assignment completion, you just go in and you adjust the role. You're adjusting the permission the same way you would on a document. I want them to view it or do I want them to edit it? You have both those options. Same thing here, we have different roles. I want them to see the grades. I want them to be able to modify grades. I want them to be able to participate in discussions. All of those things can be edited on a course-to-course basis. Questions, concerns, or comments? I apologize, I'm going really fast and giving you a whole bunch of information.
Okay. We appreciate it.
All right.
You'll be snowed in tomorrow, so you have plenty of phone calls.
Yeah, that's fine. No problem. You also have some very quick access buttons here on the top right. If you have a course that you want to give to everyone, you can quickly share it to Commons. I know that Donna Callahan runs her faith community class in Canvas. That exists in Commons. Then that way, people who want to register for that class, they can just register for it. They don't have to be associated with Widener. They don't have to be associated with Chester. They could be out in Utah. They just search faith community nursing. It shows up in Commons. So that's a place where you can put some of that information for other people. And if you're running, say, a class at a hospital or at your other workplace and it's some kind of professional development, you want a place for them to come, they can always come here. You just have to make sure that that course is a public course. They sign up for a free Canvas account. You put in their email address, you enroll in that course. This is a great tool, not only for our university, but if you want to use it for collaboration outside of these walls, it's there for that as well. Your Widener EDU address comes with that. Other useful tools. Student view. Well, I don't know what the student sees. Now you know what the student sees. You click on student view, it shows you what the student sees. Course statistics. Oh, but I promise I was in there last night, and when I clicked on it, the link didn't work. No, I'm sorry, you weren't in there last night. It says here last time you signed in was yesterday at 7:21 a.m. Course statistics, same thing as student tracker in Campus Cruiser. It tells you where they were, how many times they clicked, how long they spent there, kind of that backdoor big brother kind of thing. No, you weren't there. That assessment worked. It was up. You went in for 5 seconds and closed it. So it kind of gives us that leeway to be able to look at some of that. Am I over one time?
No, you're okay.
Okay.
This is more of an administrative question.
That's fine.
So for course coordinators, like for me, I would go in, put all the stuff in like I've been doing in Campus Cruiser. Everybody else who teaches adds whatever they're going to add, but is there certain information that they can't change?
No.
Okay.
The only way to do that in Canvas is to make it a blueprint, which is what that front page we see in our course.
Right.
There's locked content.
Okay.
And the only way to lock content is to have it be a blueprint. But a blueprint is more of content than it is a course.
Okay.
So we can't really take like, I want all this stuff from January to March to be a blueprint. It doesn't work that way.
I mean, it doesn't work that way now in Campus Cruiser. I mean, because you can go.
But it would be nice if you say, I want everyone to have to be able to do this. And it's like a mandatory locked thing, but no, as a course, we can't do that. All right. Questions on navigation there? All right, good. I'm going back to my home. And I'm going to show you the very first thing that needs to be done when you start building your class. Okay, so we already looked at the front page, right? We looked at how to edit this basic content. What would we think is the next, probably most important thing for you as an instructor and the students when it comes to the class? You want the syllabus up? That's a great thing. Syllabus is something that can be either put right here in your files, or remember we looked at how to just take something from files and slap it right here on the home page. So you can literally have a word here that says syllabus. So they're not looking in files to find it. It's, you need to find the syllabus, go on the home page. There's a link for the syllabus.
Okay.
So that's a great thing to do. Say it again. Contact information, that's good. We covered that in our profile and putting that in our bio. That's also on our syllabus. I'm looking for another piece of information that's usually on our syllabus.
Office hours.
Office hours, that's good.
That's very important.
Office
Grading your
hours.
grades.
Your grades. How do you calculate my grade? What is worth what? Is this worth 15%? Is it worth 10%? Is it worth 50%? Okay, all of that is something that is absolutely massive in your class arrangement here. Not only for online, but certainly face-to-face, right? Because I think, obviously, we're all going to use the grade book.
Yes.
Right, we're not just going to go back to Excel all of a sudden and start doing this hand by hand. So whether you're online or you're face-to-face, the grade book is massive. I'm using those in both environments. So here, it just sleeps in a little bit of a different place. If you remember in Cruiser, we went into assignment editor, settings, and then grade schema, and you were able to set it up in there. Here, we're still in assignments. So when you click on assignments, you'll see there's some very basic stuff in here that's put in with the template just for a guide. But your 3 dots in the top right allow you to edit the assignment group's weight. And this is where you say your discussions are worth 20%. Your quizzes are worth 30%. Project 1 is worth 15%. Attendance is worth 10%. And then that way, as you're building your modules and your grade book, you say, okay, assignment 1, we need to read this article, we need to answer these questions. It's worth 15%. I can literally select that right underneath where I build the assignment, that it's part of the assignment group, and then that weight carries over to the grade book, right? Same way it does in Cruiser. I choose the assignment category. I say this is a discussion. Discussions are worth 20%. There's 4 discussions. That means they're each worth 5%. And my grade book does that for me. So I would encourage this as one of the very first steps in instruction here.
Do you have to build the assignment first or the grade book first? Like, I have no assignments in there, so can we set this up first?
Yes, I encourage you to set this up first, because this is the category, and then your assignments would be the actual subcategory. So if you thought of this as your breakdown menu, I have assignments. My 5 assignments will sleep underneath assignments. That means that each one of them is worth 6% because I'm dividing by 5 there. So this is one of the, if you don't do this first and you build all the assignments, then you need to go back into the assignments and put them in the assignment category for them to go into the grade book correctly. So that's why I encourage this to be done first. So then as you're building, I say, oh, here's a discussion. Okay, that one goes in the discussion category. Okay, in module 4, I take a quiz. That one goes in the quiz category. And you're able to set that up as you go along. So I would encourage this, first and foremost, get your grade scheme in there.
Can we change the wording? Like, we don't do quizzes, we do exams for population health. They have 4 of them, and they have the HESI, and that's where I have it set up in the syllabus.
Yeah, looks like
Why is that? No.
You can't change it. I just tried to highlight quizzes and change it to exam.
That needs to be, okay.
Can you add a
New
group?
group.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Add a
Under
group.
assignment group, which is probably a screen before this.
Yeah.
Assignments, display grade as, new group, exams.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Dean, look at
It's
you.
because I have an excellent teacher, Andrew. That's the only
Wow.
reason. Yeah.
So you're correct. New group,
Where did you get that?
hit exam,
Okay. Group name exams.
and save.
Then you can just get rid of the other one.
And then you can get rid of quizzes, and now you have exam in the list.
Yeah.
Dean,
It's because I have a good.
I'll tell you what. That was very good.
Thank you.
So same thing, if you want to call, if you don't want discussions to be called discussions, maybe you want to call it message board. I'm sure we can just come here and edit this discussion so that it reads message board. If that's the lingo that you use throughout your documentation and you call them MB1 and you want everything to be message boards, then go in and change that label so that it makes more sense.
So then I can get rid of then, so I get rid of all these.
Yeah, if you added exams, get rid of quizzes.
It's a beautiful system.
It's a little bit more intuitive, isn't it?
If I can figure it out, you know it.
Right,
Yeah.
because you don't have, because you really only have exams. So you might have exams and then have one that, you guys might have one that says exams and then HESI if you put the
Oh, that's,
HESI
yeah, I
or
figured
whatever.
it out now. So, and for me, if I want to sit down
Because
tomorrow and start
HESI
building
breaks a
this,
different
all right?
way. You
I
use
do it
your
in
HESI.
17,
Yeah.
not 18.
Yes, and then it'll.
Fall
copy.
17,
Right, it'll
Fall
be copied
17.
over.
But
and it's running again in fall.
Okay, well, fall 18, and then
Yes.
we'll just,
And then we can take the fall 17 course and literally duplicate it into the fall 18
okay,
course.
yeah, just want to know where it started.
Yeah.
Is. Okay, so it's fall 17.
Right,
Okay, so I have my syllabus out, I had the syllabus for fall 18.
All right, good.
actually. Yeah,
I love that.
okay. And then I can get rid of homework.
All right, questions on that? Notice that when you're in the assignments tab here on the left-hand side, you're getting everything that's considered an assignment in the class, not just assignments.
Right.
So yes, assignments are considered assignments, but you're also getting graded on discussions. So those are assignments. You also have quizzes, so those are assignments. It's a little weird because you have assignments. Probably should not have the same lingo there, but that's the way it's set up. Okay? Now, obviously, if you have 2 message boards, 2 quizzes, and 2 assignments in the semester, using modules probably aren't conducive to your learning, right? You're face-to-face. You don't need the students to go in and see modules all the time. In that case, setting everything up in here in assignments is a perfectly acceptable way. And then they just come in, they click on assignments, they see everything they need to do the entire semester right in front of them. Go ahead, Dean.
This, apologies for right brain here, but the place that modules can be really handy, instead of going through assignments, is clustering stuff, especially online, so people can finish it at their own pace.
Correct.
And you could finish a course in, if you were good at it, in 3 weeks, if you didn't need to come to class every day and involve yourself in the Socratic method. So when years ago, I'm sorry, you know, the way we did it at Ohio State many years ago, we had modules. It was very effective.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would say if you're teaching online, you should be teaching in modules. I'm hesitant to say that if you're face-to-face, you should be using modules. I'm not saying it's not effective. I just don't want to give you a whole nother thing to do. So I'm saying go ahead and use the assignments feature. But I agree with you, Dean. I think everything should be set up in module format so that even if I'm face-to-face and I walk into the class and say, all right, students, today we're continuing with module 1. I come into class, I click on modules, and everything I'm completing in class and whatever they need to do outside of my class is listed under module 1. Whether it's face-to-face or not, it's an organizational feature.
That's actually really
Yeah.
nice.
And it might
Like
help
bullet
us.
points.
It
Yeah,
might
when
help
you're
us
teaching.
with our big class sizes. It might help us to say, now you guys sit in a group and discuss X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
It might be helpful because, you know, as long as we're bringing in the bucks, they're gonna
Well, it doesn't even need to be the fact that there's stuff to do. Maybe module 1 is 3 PowerPoints and a discussion.
Yeah,
So here, your module 1 is 1, 2, 3 PowerPoints, discussion.
Yeah.
So it's not that they need to go and complete all of that. It's just the fact that it's all right there.
yeah.
And they don't have to go find those PowerPoints in files.
Could,
It's not, oh, I didn't know what to look at.
could they
Look
then,
underneath module 1. They're all right there for you.
is there something built in there where they could then, if they have their computers, and the 90 of them in the classroom, give me a hot topic in your area, hot topic that's of debate.
Right now?
Oh, let's do, you're a bad guy because we're in a gun battle.
Okay.
All right. Could they type their responses to that? They go up there and we could look at them, look at people's responses or look at group responses?
Well, you can do that in discussions if you want it to be a board, or they have the chat feature here as well.
Ah, okay.
And your chat is basically an open text message.
Yeah,
So if Johnny's over on this side of the room and Susie's over on this side of the room, and we're both supposed to read the same article, I'm able to write what I read. We're both sitting on Canvas. I'm getting a live type of what's being talked about in class.
Is it anonymous?
No, I believe it comes with your name.
but that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
asking.
We can always. Yep, comes with my name.
Yeah,
Check. But still,
that's cool.
I think that's a great idea.
Potential is so cool.
yeah. All right,
One other question.
go ahead, Dean.
Can you randomly, without a popsicle stick, put somebody's name up there and say, talk to me?
No, there is no random name or number generator.
That's too bad. I suppose we could insert one, couldn't we?
I'm sure that there is something that we could find that has an LTI that we could probably get.
Thank you. Cool.
All right, so the last thing I wanted to show you here, because we're running out of time, even though I have like 5 more things on my list, that's why there's going to be a Canvas 3. This is only Canvas 2.
Canvas 4.
We're definitely going to do
Canvas
3,
5.
and we'll just keep on going.
We're losing our.
Yeah, we're losing our mind. But the only thing I wanted to show you here was just how to edit this module content,
So you're
right? Because instead of, like I said, here's the basic stuff. My module, I have 3 articles and a discussion. So here, I'm just hitting the plus sign, right? That's letting me choose what I want to put in here. What do I want to put in here? I want to put in my discussion for them to talk. And in this case, it's a new topic. I haven't made it yet.
Oh, wait, I'm not sure how you
We
got
missed a
there.
step.
Okay, no problem.
Because I'm on a totally crazy page.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm at modules.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm hitting my plus sign
We're at the top.
at module 1.
at module 1.
Oh, there we go. Got it.
Yes.
Did you get it? Yeah.
I'm there, but when I hit discussion, it didn't go up.
Okay, you at the top box
I didn't
says
see that.
add
Yeah.
and discussion. Okay, and then it gives you what's already existing in the discussions tab. So if you already made the message board, you can link that message board here.
Cool.
In this case, I haven't made the message board yet. So it's a new topic. And instead of going all the way back to the
Okay.
message board to make the topic, I
Got it.
literally just press it right here.
It might be cool that if we could to do something that was anonymous, although that might open up.
Although, Andrew,
Why did it say-
I don't know, Mary and I have something totally, so we have discussion up there. Oh, wait, no, new topic. Hang on. We're supposed to be clicking new topic.
Yes, new
And
topic.
then click it.
There you go.
Okay,
Then
got
you can
it.
enter the
Okay.
topic name.
So cool.
Right, a lot of this is designed so that you can build on the same screen.
Yeah.
If we were doing this on Cruiser, we would have to go back to discussion board to make a topic.
Right.
Here, I'm able to select new topic and give this topic a title of test topic.
Right.
And it adds it to the discussion board for me. I don't need to go back to discussions in order to do that. And I just click add item.
Now, let me ask you, on my discussion board, I might have a scenario that I want students to respond to. Where does that text go?
So in that case, you would actually need to go into what you just titled
Okay.
test topic and just click edit here.
Edit. Okay.
and it's going to give us that HTML window where you can put your scenario in. Or if you want them to watch a video and respond to it, you can put your YouTube video right there.
Got it, okay.
So it lets you add the title of it, but it doesn't let you modify the content of it. So it lets you do that first step, which is a great first step because that's the main thing. I want it to at least exist. I can always go back in and change what it is, but at least now it exists. I have my title of test topic, and then I can add whatever I need to inside the body of the message.
Andrew, this is Shirley.
Go ahead, Shirley.
Hi, is this where we put the expected learning outcomes against the course? Is this where you would recommend that to go?
No, this is a message board, Shirley.
Where are you all putting it? That's where I've been watching and listening and see where the expected learning outcomes. Sometimes with a message board, you would link why you're doing this discussion. You're just not doing it free.
Okay, Shirley, I understand what you're saying. We haven't even discussed the outcomes, but if you scroll down to your bottom.
Oh, okay, I see it. I see it.
But that stuff isn't even in the system yet.
Oh, okay, because
But
I wanted to
down
build
the road,
that everything
down the
was
road, we
linked.
should be able to take topics and assignments and link them directly to our outcomes and objectives
Right.
so that we're meeting those things. Not quite there yet, but you're correct. That is a feature we can use.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead, Dr. Brown.
Now, I went ahead and I put in exams 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
But I want to put in the weights. So where do I go?
So in that case, you would need to go to assignments and the 3 dots and say how much
Like
the,
next to exam 1? So yeah, 1, 2 exam, I made the 4.
okay. So these are your exams.
Right.
So you need to go to here, all the way up. 3 dots, assignment group weights, check your box. Okay, and here's your exams. And then you can put in your weights,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
But if you don't have that box checked, it assumes everything has an equal weight.
Okay.
That's why you have to check that box, get it to be individual assignments.
Okay. So in discussion groups, I'm not going to have that participation.
Yeah,
But I'll put in the HESI and the other thing, and then I'll go back and they also populate, and then I can just put in the various things that it's done.
absolutely.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
I'm gonna pause there for today. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. And I apologize because I'm sure that our next one is gonna be some overlap of what we're doing today, but there's
I think
no
it's
way
fine.
that we can say,
I think
okay, well, we did assignments last time, we're never
Well,
gonna talk
I'm
about
gonna kind of
assignments
play
again.
with stuff, and then this
Yeah.
way it would be helpful if it blows
Yeah.
up, then.
Well, I wanna look at, a little bit more on actually building out the modules,
Right.
of setting that stuff up and linking it, and also posting announcements, which can be done very easily, and where do those announcements go? So that'll probably be a topic in Canvas 3.
Cool.
Okay?
I think it has so much to do. We're just.
You could spend hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I'm trying to kind of chunk it up for us. I know that I'm not much of a chunker because I could talk all day. And I try not to overwhelm you guys, but I could fill
There's
hours.
so much you can do.
And applause, really.
Thank you.
You're an excellent teacher.
I appreciate it.
An excellent teacher.
So if I want to upload, I'm in files.
Yes.
And it has a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
Stuff like the image and that kind of thing.
Right.
Flickr. So if I don't want those, and the green button tells me that it's published, right?
Yes.
So can I delete them?
You can delete them, but the problem with deleting them is that wherever they then sleep inside of your course, they will no longer be there. So if you delete the buttons like the image on the front page
Right.
or the class module buttons, if you delete those images, they will no longer show on that page
Okay.
because Canvas won't know where to find them.
Okay. So this link icon, the PNG, whatever that is. I just leave it alone.
I would encourage you not to delete anything that's in there.
Because I'm a deleter, you know, I get it out of the way.
Yeah, there's really no reason to delete it because all of it's very small.
All right.
So it's not really taking up a lot of space, but it is feeding the image that the students see on the course itself.
Okay.
There was a song written by Neil Diamond and the Monkees did it. It was called I'm a Deleter. Do you remember it?
No, I'm far too young. No.
I'm a deleter.
I'm just gonna put a
I
bug in
do.
your
I
Andrew
do.
for my
I do.
genetics and ethics class. I have the Twitter feed that I like to run, so at some point I'm gonna ask you to sort
Yeah,
of
for sure.
help me figure out how if we can
Yeah, we definitely can.
to put
Is
that
that
on there.
fall? Summer? How did you get to the next semester?
Does
There's
anybody
nothing in
online
there.
have any questions?
Oh, okay.
I'm about done with new stuff today.
Okay.
Mary's good. Dana, you good? Shirley, you good?
I'm gonna go to tomorrow's class since I've been in and out of this one.
All right. I don't know if tomorrow's is going to be held, but we'll find out.
I will go to the whatever next one you have.
Okay, sounds good.
So Andrew, one question, being new, I know that you've recorded this. Where do we go to find that recording exactly? If I want
I'll send it out this afternoon so that you
Right.
have a link to it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yes, Andrew, I was muted. I'm sorry. This is really good. I just don't know when a course you've taught is not showing in Cruiser, how do you get it in Canvas if it's missing?
That would be something that we have to look at on per course basis. So if you could email me what course that is, I will certainly get a hold of someone that runs that system to see why it is not showing up where you.
Okay. Then the other thing I was wondering, I prefer to build the course from the outcomes to the assignment to the rubric. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that because I have all the content and files ready.
You can go in and when you come down here to outcomes, you can build your
There it is. There.
own
Okay.
rubric and outcomes.
Okay. I see it now.
Eventually, I would love our School of Nursing content to be in here, but for now, because it's not, you can certainly put your own stuff in there and link it yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody else? All right, marvelous. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Get out of the cold.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.